Ric Flair used to say, what's causing all this? I'm about to tell you what's causing all this. I'm Zach. This is The Average Christian, a project simply about what it means to have a relationship with God, how to live that out practically. But it's hard to do that when there's so much confusion. So what's causing all this confusion between religious people? All these people that claim Christianity with so many different beliefs. I'm going to give you 4 concepts I'm not going to really dig into, but at least introduce 4 concepts of so much that are essential to so much confusion, I should say, amongst religious people, amongst Christians. And those 4, before I read Ephesians chapter 2, 8 through 10, are grace, faith, law, and works. All of those, there are people who focus more on grace to the exclusion of works and law. There are people who focus more on faith, people who focus more on works and obedience and law to the exclusion of the rest, and all to the detriment, because you get all of this out of balance. So watch here. This is the best passage I know of to take you to show you, illustrate to you how these all work together in harmony, and they're all part of salvation. So Paul says in Ephesians chapter 2 in verse 8, "For by grace you have been saved." Some of my brethren don't like to talk about grace because it scares them to death, because other people have made grace way too big in the equation. But we are saved by grace. Grace is simply, I don't want to say unmerited favor. That's what you'll hear a lot of times. It's a gift. It's God's gift. So God decides to give it. It has nothing to do with earning, just like you buy presents for people on birthdays, not because you feel like they earned this present, but because you want to give it to them. That's God giving Jesus. Especially, grace is much bigger than just Christ, but that is the greatest part of his gift to us in Jesus. So by grace, you have been saved through faith. So I came into this room through a door. I am in this room, grace. That's how Romans 5 illustrates it. In this grace in verses 1 and 2, in which we stand, it says, but we come through faith. So that's the doorway. In faith, I've defined that in other videos. You can look those up, especially what's the difference between faith and belief, one of our more popular videos. But see that for the definition of what faith is, because it's not just this acceptance or this acknowledgement, but we're saved through faith. I know more of my brethren, in fact, people that I've said before in classroom settings, that faith saves, and they bristle at that. The Bible teaches faith saves. It's just the Bible definition of what faith is. So by grace, you have been saved through faith. This is not of your own doing. It is the gift of God. Still talking about grace, has nothing to do with earning it, not of my own doing. Same kind of works in verse 9, not a result of works, those types of works that earn. Now, works, obedience, if you want to say it, are still part of the equation. They have to be. They are in every relationship. You can't claim to love anybody in any relationship without showing that love and proving that love. Same thing in this relationship between me and God, between you and God. So it's not a result of works in verse 9, so that no one may boast. Otherwise, we could brag, God owes me this. In verse 10, we are his workmanship. And you got to stop there for just a second outside of this, the scope of this, and just appreciate that I am designed by God. I am his craftsmanship. If you make anything, if you design anything, if you accomplish anything, you can feel that connection to what you've accomplished and that appreciation, that maybe your own pride, for lack of a better word. When I make, as a jeweler, when I help, or I'm a part of that custom jewelry making process, I look at that and can appreciate and have a connection to that craft. Well, how do you think God feels about you and me having designed us and made us? All right, let's get back to it though. Created in Christ Jesus for what? For good works, for obedience. See, we got grace so far, faith, we got works as well. We are created for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. There's your last one, law. That phrase, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Just because God had an old law, a Mosaic law, when we say law, a lot of people think of that specifically. Now, what they fail to realize is there were relationships with God before the law of Moses ever existed. See Abraham. There have been relationships with God after that law, but for some reason, a lot of people there are many people in the religious world who want to just remove law completely. Well, the old law has been done away with. And so now it's about the Spirit Well, then you go to Romans chapter 8 and you see it's the law of the Spirit. You go to Romans chapter 3 and it talks about this new law that we've been given that's different. So we still live by rules. That's all we're saying. And all of these fit into a relationship. How does that work? God's part is grace. We've established that here momentarily, but in other videos as well. God's part of the relationship is grace. My part of that relationship is faith. Faith, by nature, by definition in the Bible, has to include obedience. It does when you come to Jesus. For all of you out there who think that you just believe and accept the Lord, that's still doing something. A lot of people believe that because they want to take works out of it completely. We don't do anything. It's just we accept. Acceptance is still doing something. Now, it's bigger than that. You'll find the very first Christians who obeyed the gospel in Acts chapter 2, what they did, they heard it, they believed it, they confessed it, they repented of it, and then they were immersed, they were baptized, and that's that walk of faith, if you will, into this grace. That's our part of the equation. These works are included. That's your third word. And who defines what those works are? Who defines what obedience is? God does. It's what he prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. He decides what's right and what's wrong, and we go by that code, and that code is simply law. I hope that this helps you understand that relationship, or at least a beginning. Research. The Bible does not contradict itself. For those who want to go pick out over here, it says this, and over here it says that. They all work together, and I hope to do more videos and highlight each one of these a little more individually. We want to thank you for being with us. If you are not a subscriber yet, realize we love doing these videos, but we need your help. So if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to this. Hit this button below. If you want to see what was released last time, it's over here in this corner. If you want to see what YouTube recommends, it's in this corner here. And for those listening on podcast, thank you for being with us as well. Please do us the same favor. Subscribe, rate, and review. Help get the word out. And please share this with other people so it can help them too.